Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Mary.
I'm Linda.
We're back live again, and we're going to pick it back up on Mother's story. And we actually ended yesterday, and we said we was going to start with when our children, us 4 children was born, but we went back through Mama's book, and there's a few more little things that we want to say about Mother and her childhood. So, Linda.
Okay, so you're going to tell a little bit about Mama's childhood.
All right. Well, back when Mother was born, like we told you, she was a twin. This is her writing. She said, remember back then, we had no electricity, no baby food, no disposable diapers, and no baby beds. So, that has to be hard on a mother, having her first babies and twins at that, and she had a hard time.
Out of everything that she said, what probably, it struck me the most was no baby bed. You know they didn't have modern conveniences back then, but they didn't even have a baby bed to put those babies in.
Yeah. And Mother even said that they because Mom had twins, she says Mom said she cooked turnip greens and used the turnip liquor and the greens cooked off of that to feed the babies because she didn't make enough milk
for both
of them. It was pot liquor, and I know that that sounds like something besides what it is, but it is the juice off of turnip greens, and that's what she had to feed her babies because she didn't make enough milk. That just seems unreal to me, but that's, back then they did what they had to for the babies to survive. And then she said that, Mother, Paulie, we told you they had triplets, and they all 3 died. I think they were 9 months old when they died.
They were crawling babies.
Yeah, and anyway, this is Mother's words. She says, tears are not the mark of weakness, but a power. And she said, I've seen Dad go to the back porch and set his head in his lap and cry when the triplets died. And so she said that sometimes all of our sorrow and heartaches that we go through, it brings us closer to God because we do depend on the Lord whenever we get in those situations. When there's no other way to figure a problem out or to survive, you call on the Lord. So sometimes tears are not just for sorrow. And then we'll go back and pick up where Mama, the day that she was getting ready to get married.
Okay, so we told y'all yesterday that Paulie, Mama's daddy, gave Mama $25 when she went to get married, and that was to buy her a new dress. Well, Daddy also gave her $25.
Right.
And now Mama made money when she was working at Camp Chemical, but more than likely, I can imagine $50 for a 18, 19-year-old girl that probably had never even dreamed of having that much money to spend on herself.
Right.
You go to the store in Walmart and you spend $150 without batting an eye, and here she is, got $50 in her pocket to go buy her dress. And what she said she chose a light blue crepe dress. It was a princess type. And she said it had embroidery all over the front top. And we're not going to tell about this now, but anyway, I would have loved to have seen that dress. But anyway, she lost it in a house fire when our house burnt. But she said she also bought lingerie, 2 pairs of shoes. Can you imagine? Mama was so frugal. 2 pairs of shoes. And she can't remember what else.
Aunt Elsie went with her shopping.
Yes, Aunt Elsie was with her. And we grew up in First Pentecostal Church in Nacogdoches on Douglas Highway. And Sister Minton pastored, an elderly lady pastored. Well, she probably
her grandson, and today her grandson married one of our first cousins.
Yes. And they went to there to get her to marry him, and she had planned to marry him, but she didn't have the license to marry anyone. So they went across the street, and they woke up another lady, minister, Sister Rosella Owens, and she married us, and Aunt Elsie was the only one there besides Mom and Daddy. Yeah. Now, this is funny, and we debated on whether or not to tell this, but we told y'all in our cookbook that I've got a point, I promise, that we got houses in the cookbook that are relevant to our family. And there's a house in there that Pinky Ma and Pinky Paw lived in when Mama got married. It was off of Highway 7 West in Nacogdoches. And actually one of our relatives owns that house today.
Yeah.
And it's in the cookbook. Yeah. And they spent their wedding night in this house. And I'm going to read you what she said because I don't want to add too much except that what Mama said. She said, it rained all night and the house leaked.
Wouldn't that be horrible on your wedding night?
Now, anybody from years ago, now we never had a house that leaked, but a lot of people had houses that the roofs leaked on them. And Cecil, our daddy, Pinky Ma kept, it seemed like, I'm going back to read it. It seemed like Pinky Ma, she said but she's talking about Pinky Ma, had to check on the leaks quite often.
I can't imagine that.
Cecil finally told her to never mind the leaks and to stay out of their room.
I wish we are going to try to print this book. The more I read into this book, it's just full of treasures.
It is. And you've never actually read it.
I have never read the book, so I'm going through it little by little, and it's just amazing to go back and live in that time, with her, because the way she's very good at writing this. So we are going to check into trying to print it because it's got a lot of good things in it.
And we told y'all yesterday about the travel trailer. Mama said it was something like an Airstream. It was a very nice travel trailer, and that was the first place they lived. It was in Galena Park, which is down close to Houston, or in Houston. It's like a little community. If anyone knows anything about Houston. Now, the first house they bought, and Mama said over and over, Daddy always had a car, and he did. He always had a car, and he drove really fast. I mean, it was probably really fast to suit Mama. I don't ever remember my daddy driving fast, but I guess as a young girl, because she probably hadn't been in that many vehicles, maybe some old whoopies that Paulie had.
Yeah.
But
wagons.
Right, and wagons. And so anyway, they found this house or farm. It was actually a farm. It was down between Sharina and Etoile. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember how much land. She's
12 acres.
12 acres.
Yeah.
And this is really, really amazing. It was a house and 12 acres, and Daddy bought it for $500. He sold his car and bought this house for $500.
Dad asked her, she said, well, because she didn't like that house. She was too far away from everybody, and I guess just young and married. She's pregnant during that with our
Charles was a baby.
Oh,
Charles
okay,
was a baby.
okay.
So we fast forwarded a little bit, and they had a 55-gallon barrel for a heater, and also we had a pretty good barn and lot, which was fenced. So part of the property was fenced. And Paul had given her some chickens and a cow and some other things. So they had a nice little setup there. And remember now, they didn't have a car. So Mama said she hated this place. Well, and she has it underlined. She hated it.
and Daddy asked her, said, well, then if you want to move from here, we're going to have to sell our car. Isn't that what he said? Is that when she bought the property? They sold the car and bought. No, that's that property they bought. They sold the car and bought the 12 acres,
So now Charles was a baby, and I could go back and do the math, but I imagine he was maybe 7 months old or something when they bought this. And so Daddy trapped. Daddy lost his hearing in the war, and he couldn't hear, so he did have guns, but he didn't hunt. He usually had a gun with him when he was on a trapping expedition, or I shouldn't say expedition because it was in East Texas, but he trapped and fished. That was Daddy's thing. He loved to trap and he loved to fish, and he was really good at both of them. So he had steel traps, and we all have one of his traps that has his initials on them. He had this little tool that he put his initials on everything. And he left early that morning. I imagine Mama probably packed him a lunch, and he was gone all day long, and Mama was really worried about him. She had, the baby with her. She had no way to call anybody, nowhere to go anywhere. And I'm not reading this. I'm telling this from memory. But she was probably getting a little bit mad, besides being worried because he had been gone. And she finally saw something in the distance, and she couldn't make it out as Daddy, because Daddy was tall, and he wasn't, even when he died, he wasn't he was tall. He wasn't a overweight person.
Yeah.
But he had all this stuff on him, and she couldn't make it out that it was him. And finally, when he got a little closer, he had his shoulders and his arms packed with fox hides. He had caught so many foxes that he had to skin them and skin the hides before he come home, because he couldn't carry them all. And my daddy was very, very industrious, and he sold those hides. He tacked them up and dried them and sold them to fur dealers. Used to be several in East Texas. And so they eventually did sell that house, and they went in that farm. And when they sold it, he bought it for $500. They sold it for $1,000.
Yeah, he always made money. He was
always
always
made
looking
money.
for a good deal to turn around and make money off of it.
And I won't say the exact words of this, but I remember Mama saying that Grandpa Lee, which was Mama's granddaddy, our great granddaddy, he loved my daddy, and he said Cecil could fall in a pile of poop, which he didn't say poop, and come out smelling like a rose, because my daddy was just like that.
Yeah.
You know, he would turn anything around, and Mary may get on to me after we get through, because she didn't know I was going to say that. But okay, so with the money that they earned from that farm, he bought his first used truck. My daddy was he drove a truck up until we were years, up until we were real big
growing
kids.
up. That's what he done.
And this was in 1946, and they moved back to Dad's farm, and in the upper house, which was the Little Red House,
Yeah,
right?
the Little Red House where I was born.
That's where Mary was born,
And that picture's in our cookbook.
and that picture's in our cookbook. And also, I've said the picture of the house that they spent their honeymoon night, and also the picture of the first farm is in there.
In our cookbook.
And Mama, I remember very well, we did the first one in 1998, and Mama says, Linda Faye, she said, please don't put that picture in there. They'll think we lived in a dilapidated house, and that was a nice house. And this picture she took probably in the 80s or something.
Yeah, it was.
And
been
so
years.
it looked like it was a rundown house, but it wasn't. It was a good, sturdy house. But that picture's in there too. So he bought the first truck, and they moved back to down on the farm in the Little Red House, and they were there when Charles started walking.
Charles weighed 10 pounds when he was born. Her
He did,
first
baby.
Her first baby
And
weighed 10 pounds.
Daddy's baby brother, Clifford, was 14 years old. Mama was pregnant with Mary, and they lived there when Clifford was run over and killed by a drunk driver at the bottom of the hill in Nacogdoches, walking
I
across the
was
street to
thinking
go
that
to
Clifford
church.
got killed in front of the church.
He
It
was
was Sister Minton's church.
It was, but
Okay.
It was down there where Piggly Wiggly was.
Okay,
it was,
well, I
it was
know
on
what
the,
you're
it was
talking
on the
about,
other end of
Bottom of the
town.
Hill. I know
And
what
it
you're
might
talking
not have even have been the church that we went to, but that was the church in front
Where
that he
they
got
went.
killed. He
Okay.
was 14. Mom was pregnant with Mary. Okay. Mama said that Daddy, he raised what they call truck patches, which is something like a garden but bigger. And a lot of times they raised so much that they sold stuff. Daddy was always raising watermelons, selling watermelons.
One of the reasons I don't eat watermelon today is that he had acres and acres and acres of watermelons that he grew. Well, we had all the watermelon we wanted to eat. So today I can eat watermelon, but I don't eat much. It's not one of my favorites because I did eat a lot of watermelon as a kid in the field. Sand, hot, oh my goodness, we would run down them rows and trying to find a shade spot where there's a watermelon and there's a leaf underneath it. We'd find a little shade spot in the sand to stick our feet in. It was hot
was so
sand.
hot. It was. And on this next page, and I guess I kind of said the wrong thing about the upper house was the Little Red House. The upper house was not the Little Red House.
That's the one before
it
you
was
get
the
to the
one
dairy barn.
up there before you get to the dairy barn, and then they moved into the Little Red House, and that's where they lived when you were born. They moved a lot, and people did back then for one reason or another. Then they moved in a place above in Sharina, a place above Grandpa Lee's house. And she said she remembers making Mary little print dresses when we lived there. And I remember Mama, she never was taught to do anything. She taught herself how to do all this. And Mary was a beautiful baby. She's always been a beautiful girl. I've always been the plain Jane.
No. That's not true. Look how beautiful she is. And she has the prettiest hair. Her hair is so silver. That's why Mama's hair was.
Thank you, Mary.
Just silver.
Mama's hair
It's beautiful.
Mary's hair
so
was curly
beautiful.
and mine was straight as a board.
Well, that's the only difference because you've always been beautiful.
Still is. Okay, let's see. We want to talk a little bit about the cookbooks. We didn't do that at the beginning, so I'm going to save a little bit of time like that. But Dad would go to West Texas every fall. Oh, this is, let me back up just a bit. Mary was 3 months old when Mama was making the little print dresses, and it was while we lived here that Daddy bought his first brand new GMC truck. It was in 1947. And Daddy went to West Texas every fall to work and with the truck and left me with Mom and Dad. They had moved in to Miss Nina Posey's house near Sharina. I remember crying a lot because I missed Daddy so bad. But after then, we all went. You know, we went as a family and stayed in those little cabins.
And Daddy paid cash for everything.
He did. The only thing, and I've heard my mama say this so many times.
He didn't believe in going in debt.
You know, they were very practical. You know, we drank a soda water. It was a special occasion.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what a soda water is, it was a Pepsi or a Coke
and it cost a nickel. It cost a nickel.
It was a nickel. It was 16-ounce drinks in glass bottles. And I remember when they went up to 6 cents.
I do too.
Mama said, I'm going to quit drinking them.
Yeah.
Because they went up a penny.
We didn't have that many.
She didn't quit drinking them. But we had what we needed, and the most important thing was, I mean, we never done without. I don't ever not remember having more food than we could possibly eat. But they were practical. You know, if something broke, they figured out a way to fix it. If they needed something, they figured it out. You know, that's just how they were back then. So I guess we will stop there.
We're gonna stop there, and we'll pick up next week. Start Tuesday.
It may be.
I don't know what.
Because your birthday's Wednesday, it's probably it may be Wednesday one because Mary's coming here to my house and I'm gonna cook a birthday lunch for her. So it'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyway, we'll
let you know.
But we want to thank y'all again for your patience dealing with these orders that you've ordered. I'm not used to having orders for 4 or 5 days and not fulfilling them. We work. Okay, sorry about that. I had a call coming in, so I hope it might have gone blank. But we baked shortbread and made peanut brittle yesterday.
We made 32 dozen shortbread yesterday, besides 15 pounds of peanut brittle.
And we've already made peanut patties this morning. Had breakfast, and we're
delicious breakfast. She fixed me some oatmeal with fresh apples and toast and bacon. It was delicious.
Thank you. And so what we've done, you want to tell them about the cookbooks? Or I'll tell them this and then you can tell them.
Okay.
So we spent about probably an hour last night going through comments which didn't even touch the surface on them. But we went through and we were listing names on spreadsheets, everyone that wants to pay by check, and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, which is not interesting. But the bottom line is we're trying not to leave out anyone. So I wrote a sob story email last night to the company that does my cookbooks. And this morning I set the timer and I called them. I was on the phone with them at 8 o'clock. So the bottom line is we have placed another order for cookbooks. And Mary's going to explain to you how we're going to handle this. We do not want anyone left out that wants a cookbook. And we certainly don't want y'all to think that we're taking orders that we can't fulfill. We would never ever do something like that.
We were so busy yesterday and overwhelmed with all your comments wanting to order till we just could not keep up. So last night, before midnight, we were sitting down on the phone and we went through the comments and we wrote down everybody's name that said that they wanted a cookbook and did not get their order in. So we got all your names written down that said that you wanted a cookbook.
Hope we do.
We hope we do. And we've gotten some more orders this morning. But we will, with the amount of books that we order this time, we will have enough books to fill all the orders. But you do not have to say, I want a cookbook. We want you to wait and say that closer to November. We'll let you know. And you can we're going to tell you, we're getting another phone line. So we're getting another phone line so that you can call that number and leave your name, address, and a telephone number. We're having someone else answer these calls. If you do not want to text, or just call. You'll have a phone number. So we'll have someone answering the calls, and then we will take your orders then. And we will tell you how to pay and when to send you payment. And you can choose to PayPal or write a check, however you want to, but you don't have to do that now because we got to get this other phone line. So we will get your orders, and we're going to have it done a little bit more professional this next go around.
And it's not that we don't know how to do this. We were just
we didn't expect to get thousands of followers.
Yeah, we were kind of overwhelmed with the amount, but. Something else that we're not going to do, we're not going to open the inventory on the website until we know these orders are
yes.
filled.
That the first ones that ordered and
yes.
already paid will be filled before we start taking money for the second order. So.
And so everyone will know they are in production. It will probably be around the 10th when they're shipped to us.
November.
Yes, in November. We usually get them and turn them around so that next week
that second batch, she said it wouldn't be but like 3 or 4 days difference behind. So it's not like you got to wait too much longer. But we just don't want to we want to make sure that the first ones that ordered gets theirs, and then we got plenty for everybody.
And whatever's left, then we will make sure that they're available online
yes.
for anyone else that wants them. And also, were you going to mention the aprons?
We have been round and around with different companies about these aprons because we are a little bit picky, and that is true. But we're not going to order something that we haven't seen, and because of material, we don't want an apron that's going to be ravel out, or we just want a nice apron. So we're still dealing with 2 or 3 different companies on trying to decide what kind of apron, and we've also got to get the print down there because we're going to have our picture on the apron. So we're still dealing with that, but you do not have to place an order for an apron. We're going to do the aprons just like we do this second round of books. You will call this separate number and say what you want, and we'll tell you what to do, but it's going to be on a different number. So this phone that we're using won't be overpowered, and we can do our baking and not interfere. And make sure you ladies, y'all are so sweet. And we have some men too, followers, and y'all are so sweet. We don't want to disappoint you. We don't want you to get upset because we're not commenting right back. It's just we just can't do it all right now. So we're getting some help and another phone line to take care of the orders.
And keep in mind, because we were on very little yesterday, is because we are baking. We don't have a staff. We have very
you see it right here.
4 hands. We did rope Mike in to help us
Mike
yesterday.
did help us. But, Mike helped us.
He doesn't feel as quite as well as we do.
He ain't as hip, or you might
at
say.
least he's a man. He's not quite as motivated. Oh, Paul, you men don't take that offense. He really is not
he's
a well
big
person.
Yeah,
but he is a big help to us sometimes. But once we get him, we're gonna enlist some help. We're gonna get some of Mary's grandkids.
Yeah, we've already got lined up help when we get those books.
We're gonna have an assembly line going. So we're laughing, but we sat down last night to watch a little cake thing on TV, and I think I fell asleep.
I did too.
Before they even got started.
It was cake decorating.
Anyway, thank you all again. We hope that the Lord blesses each of you tremendously, and please know that Mary and I are so humbled at all of your kindness, and just the fact that you follow us and that you want to hear from us. And
We love your comments, and we do read them. We just don't have time to respond to all of them.
so have a blessed day, a blessed
Yes.
weekend, and we will.
We'll see you next
We're
week.
working on getting the peanut butter pie
Oh, yeah.
video posted, and hopefully we'll have enough time today to get that done. We'll have the recipe with it. If we don't, we'll get it on there tomorrow. So thank you all.
Thanks.
Bye.
We love y'all.
you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.